Hey everyone, Lorean here, and I wanted to bring to your attention a game that doesn't seem like a lot of people know about. It's called Mavericks Proving Grounds, and is being developed by a company called Automaton. Mavericks is a battle royale tactical shooter that will later turn into an MMO with heavy character progression, social hubs, intelligent mission systems, and a global scale player-driven narrative. But I'm sure you're thinking, oh great, another battle royale. What's new? Well, to be honest, there's actually quite a bit of new that comes with this game. First off, James Thompson has mentioned that the Battle Royale mode will be able to handle 400 player base instance. Sounds crazy, right? At this point, I'm sure you're ready to click off this video because that's way too many people. It's going to be way too laggy. Well, give me a few minutes of your time, and I will do my best to change your mind about this. Without dawdling, let's dive into the details. The difference between Mavericks and other games is this game is not using a single server architecture, but instead is working with hundreds of special OS workers over a network of servers. What this means is that they are able to scale objects in the world according to your player. Think of it this way. You're in a game, and you see a house way off in the distance. These workers will recognize this and only render in the side of the house you are facing. But as you get closer, and the house gets bigger, the workers will scale the house and also include every item that is in said house. This allows the game client to not have to send as much information at once, thus alleviating lag. Having the game on a series of servers called a network means the load of all the environments, players, entities, weather, and etc. is not stressing a single server to the max, and again alleviating lag. Genius! As I was digging into this game, I came to find out that Automaton is going above and beyond in designing it. With their client, they're able to achieve a fully dynamic world, meaning that anything can be altered or destroyed or streamed in and out of the player's view. Tracks can be made through the foliage, meaning if you are hunting another player, you can actually see the path he took through the grass, shrubs, or bushes. The scenery is quite destructible. They have implemented a dynamic weather system, dynamic damage from fire and explosions, and even more interesting, they are planning on implementing wildlife into the game. Now this is not confirmed, but how crazy would it be if there were bears in the forest areas? You could be chasing someone down and watch them literally get eaten, or in worst cases, you're the one that's eaten. When it comes to the world, Automaton isn't going for simulation equality, but also about the level of thought that goes into the world. So, in a traditional AAA shooter, you'll have a small map well designed for tactical gameplay, like Rainbow Six Siege. Then, in Battle Royales, you have large, mostly empty maps that may or may not have interesting experiences for players. You could get dumped on as soon as you land, running through open fields and such. Well, Automaton is focusing on making Mavericks all that more consistent and creating a lot more tactics in the world. Rather than blasting a load of assets on the map, they are using a three-step modular design that they consider to be the key points in interesting gameplay. The first step is the art of the assets. Low quality, non-interesting objects in the world lead to a disregard to tactics and just more run and gun experience. Automaton is not going to let that happen. So what they have done is use a technique called photogrammetry, which makes physically based rendering more efficient. What is photogrammetry, you might ask? Well, it is the use of cameras to make a realistic texture. They achieve this by placing multiple cameras at all different angles and capturing the object. Here's a picture to put that into perspective. They are also bringing in dynamic elements that include various kinds of mesh destruction, like the foot trails and tracks I mentioned earlier, and material blending, like dynamic rain, puddles, fire, and damage. To achieve this, they have to use a huge range of dynamics. So you can imagine this. You see a tree in a game, and just really want to cut it down with a hail of bullets. Well, the physics of the bullets and the tree falling is dynamic, but the cutting of the wood is actually procedurally generated. Again, this is another way to alleviate lag and information being passed. The craziest thing I've learned about this game is that the artists are actually taking elements of nature and erosion into account. An example of this is to think of rocks in a river. These rocks are going to look smooth and shiny on the side that the water is moving over, and dark and rigid on the side that the water isn't. Another example is to think of trees in a valley compared to trees on a mountain. Trees on the mountain have less oxygen and higher winds, so they are going to appear less green, have fewer leaves, and have an overall different look compared to trees in the valley that have more oxygen, more rain, and are more abundant. This is a level of quality that I believe has never been achieved by any shooter game ever made. Another step in their modular design is the placement of objects into the map. Automaton has used tactical positioning of destructible entities and funneling to balance autonomy, how the terrain is built, and risk-reward experiences. In my final thoughts, I, for one, am really impressed and, dare I say, hyped for Mavericks Proving Grounds. I believe Automaton has ventured into a frontier in which no one who is developing battle royale games is in at the moment. I truly believe that they have purposely done this and are prepared to set the bar for all battle royales henceforth to meet. They are taking a step into a land untested and have come ready for the fight. Closed beta begins this summer, and in the description below I will have a link to their website for you to go check them out. Thanks for your time. I'll see you on the Proving Grounds.